Welcome to the Kabin. At the end of last year, Carl and I went to England for the holidays. We visited Oxford, London, and finally Nottingham, the home of wargaming. One of the places we went to was Warlord Games, and let's just say that that was an amazing experience. And we'll show you some of that in this video, including a tour of the entire factory. Let's get to it. The Warlord Games headquarters is located in Nottingham, not far away from Warhammer World. The HQ store lies in the same building as the company main offices as well as their factory. They've run their business here for a few years now after moving from Lenton. A special thanks to Andrew and Connor for having us and to Kieran for setting everything up. As you enter the store, you are greeted with a lot of hobby goodness. They have a bunch of cool miniatures on display, including upcoming releases. It's always fun to look through displays and get inspired by the armies that people have put so much time and effort into. If you need to get your hands on any paints, hobby tools, or terrain, they've got you covered. The store also features all of Warlord Games' different product lines, from bolt action to pike and shot, and even if something is out of stock, the staff will sort you out. I was looking for these Slanya miniatures, and they cast a batch up for me right there and then. Talk about great customer service. Oh, and the company recently won an award for just that from Wargames Illustrated for the 7th year in a row. Well deserved. If you want to play a game, they have several boards ready for battle. And if you're looking to try a new system and need an army to play with, just ask the staff. You might even run into John Stallard if you're lucky. He was itching to get something new to paint. Apparently, the man doesn't have a pile of shame. After having seen the store, it was time to head behind the scenes into the factory and see how everything's made. Let's hand over the reins to Connor Hind, Guide Extraordinaire.
Hi guys, my name's Connor Hind. I'm from Warlord Games, a HQ store, and we'll be taking you around a factory tour of the HQ. So bear in mind it will just be a bit quieter than normal because of the Christmas break, but you'll be able to see at least some of what we do around here. So let's go and check it out, shall we?
Let's go.
So we'll go into here. This is our main dispatch floor. This is where all the action happens to make sure that everyone gets their products, whether it's individual making orders from our website or companies and businesses making sure they receive their products to sell on their websites and in their stores. You see on this side is where the what we call trade, which is your shops and businesses. This is where all their orders are packed. So you make sure that everyone gets exactly what they've ordered and the exact quantities. On the other side, you see one of my colleagues over there picking the mail order side, which is your individual orders. So again, same job, but difference is usually quantities. Traders usually are having a lot more. Behind these cages of additional items is our packing room. This is where the actual products are packed to make sure that they're all as correct as possible, that we've got all the parts and they're on a good quality. You can see in there, my colleague Vass, she's hard at work packing something. Not sure what yet, but I'm sure we'll find out in the near future. You see just all kinds of components all live in here to make sure that they're all correct and ready to go in a box. When your box is complete, if it's got a nice box like this, it comes to here as shrink wrap machine, just to make sure that it will survive the journey over to wherever it needs to go, whether it across into the continent of Europe or just down the road. If it's not got a box, it's a blister, a little packet of something, goes to here, onto our many racks, ready for somebody to come along and collect. Whether it's you're actually picking up an order for for a shop or personal order, or even here at HQ. Sometimes I'll come back here, grab an order, and giving it to somebody who really wants it. And this is just one of the many racks that we have. And we come to here, you can just kind of get a brilliant idea of just the kind of length and breadth of of our operation here. So all the way down is various products, boxes, blisters, and all that good stuff. Okay, so that's the product side, the actual items. But in here are the casting workshops where we make the product itself. Metal, resin, and a new material, Warlord resin, if you've ever heard of it. So we're going to scoot down here. This is the Warlord resin workshop. So this is where our newest material, for which games like A.B.C. Warriors, Judge Dredd, and some other ranges too, actually use this material. You can see our colleagues hard at work there on their machines, casting up either orders to make sure that everyone gets it on time, or new products. They're always very busy. Those machines are always hard at work. You see as well, if we come around here, the mold making side of things. So this is where a big part of the Warlord resin product is making sure that the actual molds themselves is absolutely perfect. And I'll use these silicons like this, but in a bit more square fashion, to show you a Warlord resin cast. So 2 halves slapped together, go into a machine, and all being well, you'll get a perfectly formed miniature.
We start off with a metal master.
Oh, that's the master. Yeah.
That's the...
That is so awesome.
You're a star, Boris. Thank you.
After Boris put the mold in, the Sirecast machine only needed about 30 seconds to produce the miniatures. After a bit of a cool down, the miniatures could be removed, and they came out great. Any spill from this type of thermoplastic resin can even be reused.
And that's much more environmentally friendly than plastic sprues, right?
Way more. So all the sprue that we get from each mold, we grind down and reuse. So you can't do it forever, but we normally keep regrind working with the machines for a few months. Yeah, we can recycle most of our stuff here. We can't recycle the molds yet, but all the metal we get can be recycled as well. So the studs that we use in our molds to hold it together, that's from metal. Same stuff as the miniatures.
Right, so that's a brief look at Warlord resin. I'm going to come over here to the tried and tested traditional metal. This is a spin cast metal, so our molds are round and go in like a very fast spinning machine where we fill it with almost molten metal, and in a few heartbeat you suddenly get a beautiful model like this. The colour of the molds that we use is actually pretty significant for what we do. You've got the working material, which is this pink material, and we like it because when it's all fired up and stuff, it has a lovely amount of both rigidity and flexibility, so that when we want to get the miniatures out of the molds, that they'll come out easily, and we don't when we make the molds, we're carving into them. It works with us rather than against us. And the yellow is a bit of a cheaper material, so we actually either will use it for certain molds that have a little bit less material, or as reinforcements. There's also like a greeny kind, which is a bit more of a high grade. It's kind of stuff that we use for the really good stuff, as far as I understand. And that's the metal molds. The Warlord resin molds work a little differently, but the idea is the same. The yellow is probably the working material they'll use a lot of, while the pink is probably one that they'll use more of a reinforcement. but then we use other materials too for when they actually are making the molds miniatures themselves, so that they'll protect the right parts. They'll make sure that the certain parts will form when the material is pushed through, because it's a vacuum formed material with a thick, goopy material. So whereas metal casting uses a very liquid material, so it will just kind of spin, and in theory, gravity and centrifugal force will just throw it into the pots. That requires being moved, so the vacuum sucks it into the area. So we need to make sure everything is correct. Lastly, we go upstairs to our traditional resin. This is a traditional material that's still used a lot today, and for us, we use it to make certain vehicles and creatures and terrain that we'd love to have in our range, but due to various business reasons like costs, we can only really make it in this material, ensure that we at least complete our range. We've come over here. These are our workshops. On these tables are the mold, where the mold makers will be putting together the mold, which is what they do is they take a resin master like this and drown it, if you want, in a mix of silicon to create a mold. Then they will carve it up, they'll cut it up to ensure that it can be peeled open if it needs to be. Or if it's what they call a flat mold, just so that the mold makers and the mold checkers can just pop it out. Let's see if I can find you an example. Here we are. This big old hunk of silicon here. See, this is on like a hinge. So it's cut to a point where, in theory, all I have to do is that. Now, if there was a real model in there, there'd be a lot more care involved. Wouldn't want to ruin that. Otherwise, if you've got a flat mold, something like this, it will just be a case of them going pop, and it will usually pop out nice and safely with all the detail. These are some that have been probably worked out over the Christmas break and then left to cure over the last couple of days, because it does take a little while, which is why we tend to keep boxes of parts ready to go to ensure orders are fulfilled and ready. And that is a brief look at our casting workshops. As I said, it's a bit quiet because of the Christmas break, but you can kind of get an idea of just how busy it really is here.
Thank you very much.
No problem at all.
What a pro, huh? Thanks again, Connor, for the awesome tour you gave us. We were also invited into the studio, where we had a great time chatting with Ian Strickland and getting a sneak peek at some future projects. We weren't allowed to film here, but we were able to take a look at the official studio models. You know, the ones that are featured on the box art, rulebooks, and website. Very cool, but sorry for the crappy cell phone pictures. We also got to talk a bit with Andrew and Harry, and we'll release those interviews next here on the channel. Kala and I really had a wonderful time during our stay in Nottingham, despite the English weather. We had the chance to visit some historical sites as well, like Nottingham Castle. If you're a local and you have any tips about traveling to Nottingham, please write a comment down below.
Well, there you have it. Thank you so much to Warlord Games for making our day so incredibly special, and thank you for watching. We really hope you enjoyed the video. We'll see you next time. Good luck with your miniatures.